"The cab!" said Mr. Pickwick.
"Here you are, sir,"
shouted a strange specimen of the human race, in a sackcloth coat and apron of the same, who, with a brass label and number round his neck, looked as if he were catalogued in some collection of rarities. This was the waterman.
"Here you are, sir. Now then, first cab."
And the first cab having been fetched from the public-house, where he had been smoking his first pipe, Mr. Pickwick and his portmanteau were thrown into the vehicle.
"The Golden Cross,"
said Mr. Pickwick.
"Only a bob's worth, Tommy,"
cried the driver sulkily for the information of his friend the waterman, as the cab drove off.
"How old is that horse, my friend?"
inquired Mr. Pickwick, rubbing his nose with the shilling he had reserved for the fare.
42,
replied the driver, eyeing him askant.
"What?"
ejaculated Mr. Pickwick, laying his hand upon his notebook. The driver reiterated his former statement. Mr. Pickwick looked very hard at the man's face, but his features were immovable, so he noted down the fact forthwith.
"And how long do you keep him out at a time?"
inquired Mr. Pickwick, searching for further information.
2 or 3 weeks,
replied the man.
"Weeks?"
said Mr. Pickwick in astonishment, and out came the notebook again.
"He lives at Pentonville when he's at home," observed the driver coolly, "but we seldom takes him home on account of his weakness."
"On account of his weakness?" reiterated the perplexed Mr. Pickwick.
"He always falls down when he's took out of the cab," continued the driver, "but when he's in it we bears him up very tight, and takes him in very short, so as he can't very well fall down. And we've got a pair of precious large wheels on, so, when he does move, they run arter him, and he must go on, he can't help it."
Mr. Pickwick entered every word of this statement in his notebook, with the view of communicating it to the club, as a singular instance of the tenacity of life in horses under trying circumstances. The entry was scarcely completed when they reached the Golden Cross. Down jumped the driver, and out got Mr. Pickwick. Mr. Tupman, Mr. Snodgrass, and Mr. Winkle, who had been anxiously waiting the arrival of their illustrious leader, crowded to welcome him.
"Here's your fare,"
said Mr. Pickwick, holding out the shilling to the driver. What was the learned man's astonishment when that unaccountable person flung the money on the pavement, and requested in figurative terms to be allowed the pleasure of fighting him, Mr. Pickwick, for the amount.
"You are mad,"
said Mr. Snodgrass. "Or drunk," said Mr. Winkle. "Or both," said Mr. Tupman.
"Come on,"
said the cab driver, sparring away like clockwork.
"Come on, all 4 on ya."
"Here's a lark!" shouted half a dozen hackney coachmen.
"Go to work, Sam!"
And they crowded with great glee round the party.
"What's the row, Sam?"
inquired one gentleman in black calico sleeves.
"Row,"
replied the cabman.
"What did he want my number for?"
"I didn't want your number," said the astonished Mr. Pickwick.
"What did you take it for, then?"
inquired the cabman.
"I didn't take it,"
said Mr. Pickwick indignantly.
"Would anybody believe," continued the cab driver, appealing to the crowd, "would anybody believe as an informer would go about in a man's cab, not only taking down his number, but every word he says into the bargain?"
A light flashed upon Mr. Pickwick. It was the notebook.
"Did he, though?"
inquired another cabman.
"Yes, he did," replied the first. "And then arter aggravating me to assault him, gets 3 witnesses here to prove it. But I'll give it him if I get 6 months for it. Come on!"
And the cabman dashed his hat upon the ground with a reckless disregard for his own private property,